Good evening, everyone. How are you? Cheers. Oh. Yes, indeed. How's everyone doing? Who we got in this evening? The Essex Cat, Voodoo Guitars, Aussie, Sam Black, David Evans, Chip Young. Let's have a scroll back up the chat, see who's got. Sean House, Deco Do, Johnny Random. The usual crew, basically. How you all doing, chaps? I hope you've had a decent week. And Frank, how are you, Frank? How are you, Colin? Ian, nice to see you, mate. Yes. So, what we're going to talk about then? Well, first of all, I will just give you a little bit of a heads up as to what's coming up on the channel this week. Tomorrow, there is a little bit of an insight into what goes on inside here when I'm writing a tune, basically, how I go about writing a tune, choosing notes, getting the kind of phrases arranged and stuff like that. So that's what we're looking at tomorrow. Monday, we are looking at, and I'll do the usual guessing game here. I think a fantastic solo from 1995 by a British artist who isn't really known for his guitar soloing skills, but he played a blinder on this one. So who might that be? Tuesday, we're talking about my favourite Telecaster tones. Yes, the vape's charged. Thank you, Anton. It's yes, nothing worse than a flat battery in your vape. Yeah, Tuesday is my favourite Telecaster tones. Wednesday is the penultimate, the last but one episode of the chord sequences or chord progressions. Series of videos that I've been doing, and I just want to chuck something out here right now. Actually. As I say, I've got Wednesday's chord progressions video, and then next Wednesday's will be the final one. Then after that, I'm going to be starting to do... Thank you. I do like this T-shirt. No, not Noel Gallagher. Not Noel Gallagher. Close. Very close, though. I'm starting a new series of videos in a couple of weeks' time, basically on music theory. And I want it to be sort of viewers' request type of videos. So if there are any music theory problems that you have, anything that you don't understand, anything that's puzzled you in the past, no, not Peter Frampton. So just let me know. No, not the bloke out of Blur. You're getting colder there, Kieran. How can I give you a clue without telling you it? Well, I can't really. I'll just tell you, it's a Paul Weller solo. So, I'm not usually a big Paul Weller fan, but he did that one album, Stanley Road, that I really do like. So there you go. Someone please tell me the best plugin effects to download for Audacity. I just use the stock ones in Audacity for when I use it. I find there's a really, really good leveling or normalizing effect in Audacity that I use for all of my voice tracks when I'm recording videos. Obviously not using it now because I'm live streaming. Then Thursday, we are back onto the list of videos this week. Thursday, we are looking at the pickup upgrade that I've done on that Glary Telecaster. Yes, John, Paul Weller. We're doing You Do Something To Me. I think it's a fantastic little solo. Circle of Fifths lesson. Okay, right, that's on the list. I was going to be covering that anyway because it is like, you can't talk about music theory without circle of fifths. But yes, keep them peeled. There'll be a video on that. Oh, dear me. Excuse me. That first one didn't touch the sides. By the way, in case anybody's interested, I've been shopping in Aldi this week, and this is their Stella knockoff. This is the Harley Benton version of Stella, basically. Had a weird thing happen again. Do you remember a few weeks ago I told you about, I got that phone call from somebody interested in guitar lessons because she wanted to play like Tony Lomi. And, you know, it was obviously somebody from the, from the lockdown Gestapo, trying to kind of catch me out and say, oh, yes, you can come round to my house for a lesson. Had another one of those today. Again, same kind of background noise of, like, you know, an office environment. Just, I was saying, no, yes, I do have vacancies for new students, but I'm only doing online lessons at the moment, Zoom or Skype. Oh, so I can't come to your house for a lesson then? Yeah, it's in the compression menu, David. It's the tool I use is called Leveler, which is a type of compression. Anyway, I was just basically somebody trying to kind of catch me out and say, yes, you can come to my house for a lesson, and then it would have been, haha, you broken lockdown. Should I do a pickup upgrade on my Harley Benton HWY progressive series? Well, depends. Do you like the sound of the pickups? If I would suggest, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The grass is always greener on the other side, but if you like the sound of the pickups that you've got in it at the moment, then no, don't do a pickup upgrade. If there's some element of the sound that you're not happy with, maybe it's a little bit too trebly, maybe it's not got enough output, maybe it's got too much output, then consider changing the pickups. You should say yes and give them your worst enemy's address. Yeah, the thought did occur to me, but so it's just people with too much time on their hands, isn't it? Ever use the Stets bar, John? Bit pricey, but can sometimes find used on eBay. Very stable trem, ball bearings under part of the bridge. I haven't ever had a guitar with one of those on, but one of my students had. I think it was the Stets bar. I'm pretty sure it was, because it had that ball bearing thing, and he put it on an SG, and just had an SG with a trem on it. And when I first saw it, I thought that's going to be a tuning disaster. But you couldn't kind of do eruption on it. You couldn't dive bomb it, but you could do a Hank Marvin style wobbles on it, and and it stayed in tune as well as any basic sort of trem would. I also have a Harley Benton. I'm not keen on the tone, but a bit nervous about replacing the pickups. Is it a fairly easy process? It's very easy indeed if you are adept with a soldering iron. If you know how to solder, then changing pickups is, just a walk in the park. You just, you just unsolder the old pickup leads and solder the new pickup leads on. And it's an easy job, but it depends on how comfortable you are soldering. Eruption in the style of Hank Marvin, yes, indeed. Evening, Craig. How are you, mate? Oh, you're on the Spitfire Ale, are you, Stu? Good for you, mate. Well, I'm just on the cheap supermarket lager. I've said this before. When I'm in a pub, which isn't going to be any time soon, is it? But when I'm in a pub, I like, proper hand pull, cask conditioned ale. But there's just something about putting that kind of beer in a can or a bottle that ruins it, I think. John, can't decide between the Harley Benton Les Paul Custom P90 in black and gold or the Harley Benton P90 CST in blue. Anyone got any opinion? Personally, for me, I would go for the P90 CST, the the PRS-ish one. That's just basically because I find that shape of guitar just a lot more comfortable than a Les Paul shape of guitar. How hard can soldering be? I ask myself. Yes. Well, it's something that I don't know. I mean, I learned to do it because, I learned to do it properly at college, but just as a kid, when I was learning to play the guitar, you needed a soldering iron. It was just considered an essential part of kit for mending leads and stuff like that. So it was just considered a normal thing back then. You make, do, and mend, and part of the mending process when your guitar lead went a bit crackly was that you cut, usually half an inch off the end of it and then solder the plug back on, and you end up with start off with a lead this long and it ends up this long, over the years. So I don't remember it being difficult learning, but hey ho. Harley fanboys alert. There are other comparable brands out there. There are indeed. But Harley Benton, I think, punch well above the weight in terms of price, and it's because they are like a factory direct company, aren't they? You factory straight to retailer, straight to you, rather than going through a bunch of wholesalers and distributors. Some cheaper solder is a pain to use, more expensive stuff is better. Yeah, I've still got a roll of solder here that I've had since about 1990. That was like kind of a big fat roll out there back then, and it's just, eventually I'll run out. But it's because even for doing like all the pickups on a guitar, you use about that much, so it's not really, a little goes a long way. Soldering is easy with old multi-core solder containing lead. The new stuff is dire. Yes, I have heard that that this new lead-free solder is not to be trusted. I learned soldering on my model train sets when about 8 years old. I can now do surface mount stuff down to 603 packages, whatever that means. It takes a big magnifier. Yes, 603 packages. I gather that's maybe some kind of train enthusiast talk, is it? Ever thought of interviewing other musicians on your channel? Well, if they're willing, yeah. I mean, that's the reason why. I've had a couple of conflabs with Steve Hoggett. Very interesting guy to listen to, and very knowledgeable. So I thought I'd give the benefit of his knowledge to the people who watch my videos. But it depends who else. I mean, I dare say Eric Clapton wouldn't return me calls. Do you know what I mean? I've heard nothing but good stuff about guitar fetish parts, Lee. And I don't know how easy they are to get in the UK. 603 is a surface mounted device sizing. Okay, fair enough. Well, hasn't John been contacted by Lee Anderson yet? No, sadly not. But that would be like the sort of the guitar equivalent of being invited to go on the Parkinson show, wouldn't it? Isn't it illegal to use lead solder commercially now? I don't know. I just know that I've got this roll of solder that I've had since about 1990, and I'll worry about that when that roll's run out. Okay, Collins, the shipping from the USA that's the killer for the guitar fetish stuff. Yeah, I must admit, I am thinking about, I've got a hankering to do another project. I really have. Oh, you're in the USA anyway, are you, Leaf? Well, fair enough, mate, then you shouldn't have any problem. But I've not heard anything bad said about guitar fetish gear. You know, every kind of review I've seen of it, people are saying just how good it is now. It punches above its weight in terms of price. You must have the right size iron for soldering. Yeah, well, yes, indeed. I've got a variable wattage soldering iron, so I can dial it in so that it's you know, just the right amount. What's on the top of the Supertramp album cover piano? Mud, snow was the £1 million question. Mud or snow? Oh, I know what you mean. Yes, yeah, it was snow, wasn't it? God, you're going back a bit there, aren't you? Talking about Chris Evans' TFI Friday. That hasn't been, well, it's about 20 years since that's been on, isn't it? Ronnie Wood quoted that he and Keith combined would make an average guitarist. Yeah, now, I like Ronnie Wood. I like him just the way he comes across as a person. I don't know if you ever saw any of his radio shows. Saw his radio shows. They were like on YouTube and I think on the TV, where he was just interviewing people like Slash and various people. I seem to remember who else on there. Mark Ronson was on. He comes across as a really nice guy. As a guitar player, though, you know, he's okay, you know. But I reckon you could walk into any pub, oh, not at the moment, obviously, or walk into any open mic night at any pub when pubs are allowed to be open, and you can see guitarists who are more than his equal. I don't get him as a guitar player, but I like him as a person, as a kind of raconteur. I think he's very, very interesting to listen to. Anyway, did you ever hear Andy Gill, Gang of Four? Absolutely unique sound, passed away last year. I remember Gang of Four. That was, dear me, late 70s, early 80s, wasn't it? That was, yes, I remember that was quite the cool band to be in. All the kind of cool kids at school, I seem to remember, were, used to. We used to have this thing in. I don't know if this was a UK-wide thing. But your school bag, when you were at school, okay, you used to get a canvas haversack, and the canvas that these things were made from used to take paint really well. So what you used to do on the flap was you used to paint your favourite album cover, and Blondie Parallel Lines was always a popular one, because all you needed was, like, you needed a tin of white paint and a tin of black paint, and as long as you could do straight white and black lines, you could do that album cover. And I seem to remember there were a lot of people with a Gang of Four on their kind of school bags painted on, Chapman is one mean shredder. Yeah, I mean, he's quite a divisive figure, is old Rob, isn't he? I've got to say that I tend to scroll past any of his videos. Not that he seems to be putting many out these days, but I tend to scroll past most of his videos because it's just not my cup of tea in terms of, that kind of drop D tuning, twiddle, twiddle, twiddle kind of stuff. It doesn't float my boat that much, but... he does kind of. I think a lot of the people who, kind of bang on about him. It's as I say, he's as divisive as Brexit, isn't he? So I'm just like that. I'm not going to proffer an opinion. John, have you seen Jam for Freedom? They play outside in parks. No, I can't say I have. You had the AC/DC logo on yours, did you, mate? Did you, Ian? Anyway, as I was saying, I keep getting sidetracked. I can't imagine why that is. I have a hankering to do another project, and I've been thinking about doing a kit guitar. I've been threatening to do this for as long as I've been doing this live stream. But I've got that Glary over there, you know, and it is a really nice little guitar, it has to be said. And I'm thinking I might just, rather than give the guitar to Zoe's place, I might just give them a chunk of money and kind of keep the guitar myself and do some stuff with it. But an amp kit build, I did look into that, Anton. I did look into that, but you know, it's basically the expense of it. I won't lie to you. You know, to get a decent amp kit, you're talking several hundreds of pounds, and that's more than I really want to spend at the moment. Rabia Masad might be interesting to interview. Well, I'll see if he'll take me calls. We'll see. Kit valve amp, you know you want to. I would love to, because it would sort of take me back to me college days of you know, kind of faffing around with stuff. The only thing that concerns me is there is going to be a certain amount of electrical testing going on, and if it's something, you know, if it's beyond the capabilities of the old multimeter, then I'm going to be a bit screwed, because that's, you know, that's all I've got in terms of you know, I don't have oscilloscopes and you know, signal generators and stuff, so we shall see. But I am thinking about doing something with that Glary. Here's a thought. How about to see if I could turn that Glary guitar into a proper top-end Telecaster? I'm thinking maybe a Richie Kotzen Telecaster. Oh, thank you, Johnny. Thank you so much. That will go to Zoe's place. I will, whatever I pay Zoe's for that guitar, I will add that on. You are a gentleman and a scholar, sir. Rob Chapman gets bad press, but if you met the guy, you'd like him. That's, yeah. I often get people saying to you, well, wasn't some controversy about him a while ago, and of course, because I'm on YouTube, I got people kind of saying to me, "What do you think of Rob Chapman? Which side do you take?" Well, I've never met the bloke, so I'm not gonna kind of, you know, I'm not gonna say he's a fantastic bloke or he's the devil incarnate. I don't know. I've never met him. So there you go. What do you find hard to play? I'm trying to play some Santana, and boy, it's hard work. Yeah, I have me weaknesses. I might as well kind of share them with you. Anything that involves fast picking, I am a bit crap at, to be honest with you. You know, you'll notice whenever I do any of the twiddly stuff, it's always sweep picking, tapping, or it's legato. I know. Oh, thank you, Johnny. I will put that to good use. You're a gentleman and a scholar. But yeah, anything that involves fast picking, my nightmare would be if somebody would come to me with an Al Di Meola solo and say, "Teach me how to play this." You know, it's that's when I start to you know, kind of panic a little bit. So that's my real weakness is fast picking. But then again, a guy who I have a load of respect for, Tom Quayle, fantastic player, and again a really nice guy. Actually, go and check out the interview that Tom Quayle does with Josh Smith. It's a fantastic interview, and it just, you know, really well worth watching. But Tom Quayle, you know, he quite openly admits that, you know, he sucks when it comes to picking. So that made me feel a little bit better, it has to be said. So no chance of Albert Lee's Country Boy then says, I did try learning that a while ago, and I'll tell you how long ago it was. I bought the Albert Lee, I think it was Hot Licks VHS video where he kind of takes you through how to play Country Boy. It's a bugger. It really is. You know, it's hard work, and it became a thing like, well, okay, I can devote all of my time and energy to playing this, and then just ignore everything else. So eventually, I basically chickened out, is what I'm saying. Eugene's Trick Bag John. It took Paul Davids a year to get it right. Yes, I remember that movie. I remember that film. Dearie me. I might have to watch that again sometime soon, that Crossroads film. Because, again, wasn't there some controversy about that? Didn't Alan Roth... Oh, thank you, Nigel. Thank you. You are an absolute gent. As I say, what I will do is I will make a running tally of all of the contributions that are coming in on the Super Chat. And when I give this guitar, this Glary thing, to Zoe's place, I will either add that money on or I will buy this guitar from the charity. And, you know, I'll add on the contributions you chaps have made. What do you think of Ace Frehley as a guitar player? I was never really into Kiss, is the short answer. It just, I don't know, all that sort of lipstick, powder and paint, it never really struck a chord with me. I should really go back and get over myself and listen to them some more and, you know, judge them on a musical level. But not someone I've paid a lot of attention to, therefore can't offer an informed opinion. Yeah, are you trying to learn Cliffs of Dover, are you, Craig? You know, no, John, it was Snail's Pace Slim in the Hamsters. And I saw them a couple of times, a couple of really good gigs, I got to tell you. They were fantastic both times I saw them. How is the John Robson signature guitar going? Oh, well, here it is. Here it is, the John Robson signature guitar. It is absolutely, utterly, completely, and just magnificently wonderful. It's the best guitar I've ever owned, and I love it to bits. And Dan at Scott's Guitars is an absolute genius when it comes to building guitars. You have that guitar, make it, John, make it what you want. Well, yeah, okay. I don't want any faster than Josh Smith. Anything else is shredding. You see, I don't have a problem, okay, with shredding guitar, okay. It has its place. A fast, furious kind of twiddly kind of run has its place. It's there as a way of building excitement, as a way of building tension in a solo. And if it serves that purpose, then it works for me. You know, it's when the whole album is just one big, long, shreddy kind of, you know, technique fest that it just sort of loses me a lot, because it's like, this is more like an Olympic sport than a piece of music, you know. Slim sat on my knee when they played a gig in Stanley, scared the crap out of him when I said, "Hi, pretty boy." I went for a meal with Albert Lee before one of his gigs, one of the nicest guys I've ever met, and so modest, it was an honour for me. Yeah, I had a beer with Albert at one of the guitar shows many years ago, and that was my you know, kind of reckoning of him as well. He was just such a down-to-earth, nice guy, and it was just like there seemed to be a bit of an imposter syndrome about him, where he couldn't believe that he was, in this, because there was like loads of great guitarists in this building for this guitar show, and he was like, and they asked me to come as well and talk about stuff. I can't believe it, I just thought, yeah, you don't really get it, do you, Albert? You don't know how good you are. Shredding is just one style of guitar, but many bluegrass flat pickers put many so-called guitar gods to shame. Yeah, this is it. You get virtuosity in any genre, and what kind of crosses a line for me is when you start paying attention to the technique rather than the music. Once if you kind of hear, like, I mean, Craig was talking earlier on there about Cliffs of Dover. For me, that's the perfect shred guitar track, because it's you think about the melody, and you think about the the musical experience that you're having when you're listening to it. You don't think about, oh, I wonder how he's doing those arpeggios. Oh, I wonder how he's picking that fast. Yes, there is like, kind of a lot of shreddy technique in there, but it's there to serve the music. It's there for a purpose, to play a role in the musical idea that he's communicating at any given moment. Yeah, you summed it up perfectly there, Nigel. I love shredding, but not every 5 minutes. John, just sign the Glary guitar on front or back on both sides and date it, and put it up for sale, because believe it or not, it will earn more money for the hospice. Do you think? I don't know, really. I mean, that seems like ideas above me station to me. It's like, who am I? I'm just a bloke with a YouTube channel, and not a particularly big one. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm grateful for and very thankful for, the 20,000 or so subscribers that I've got. But it's even in the world of YouTube, which isn't really kind of, the big leagues, is it? I'm a relatively small player. So I don't know that scrolling my signature on it is going to make a big difference. Technique is a means to an end and not an end in itself. Couldn't have put it better, mate. How about a solo analysis of Stray Cat Strut, John? I've done it, mate. I did it last year sometime. It's I did it as one of the Patreon exclusive solo analysis. So if you join me Patreon, only $3 a month, you will find it up there on Patreon. You'll have to dig for it a bit, but because it's a few. As I say, it was probably about June or July last year. Steve Hackett has never been mentioned on the Friday beat. I really like his guitar. Am I the only one? No, I'm partial to a bit of Genesis. It did take me a while to get into them, actually. And I did that classic thing of you hear one song that you like, and then that makes you take notice of the band, and then you kind of go back over through their catalogue. For me, that song that I like wasn't even from the Steve Hackett era. It was Turn It On Again. I love that song. I really do. And then I sort of went back over through all the way back to the earlier stuff. And yeah, I mean, the lad can play, can't he? The greatest jazz guitar players say that you learn all the guitar theory first, and then you forget it. Well, it's not that you forget it. When it comes to music theory, think of it like language theory. Okay. We all know how to construct a sentence. We all know where the verb goes in the sentence, and where the nouns and the adjectives and all that sort of stuff goes. We know intuitively how to construct all that sort of stuff. But at one point we had to learn it, okay? You know, but you're not thinking about that sort of stuff while you're speaking or while you're kind of typing or anything. While you're losing the language, while you're using rather the language, you're not thinking about, you know, the syntax and the grammar and all that sort of stuff. You're just communicating. So that's where I feel about music theory. You're not thinking about the theory while you're playing, and if you are, then it comes across. It's very obvious to kind of, when you can hear somebody that's playing, okay, now I'm going to do this scale. Okay, now I'm going to do that scale. Now then, Steve, how are you, mate? Steve Hoggett's in the house. John, on a slight tangent, have you heard Bella Fleck? No, can't say I have. But again, when I go back through the chat replay on this video on Sunday afternoon, I will be making notes and checking people out. Peter Gabriel, solo artist or lead singer of Genesis? What do you prefer, John? I've got to tell you, I do prefer his solo stuff. You know, what I like, for instance, is a song like Salisbury Hill. You know, you don't realize how complicated that song is until you take it to pieces. You know, and it's, you know, it's so kind of involved and complex, you know, kind of time signature changes and stuff. It's a fantastic song, but when you hear it, you don't perceive that, and that's what I love about you know, anybody can write complex music that sounds complex. It takes a genius to write complex music that sounds, you know, simple and accessible and just, you know, you don't hear the complexity. Yes, I remember that well, Andrew. The Chaz and Dave Christmas party with Eric and Albert King. Yes, that was repeated on Channel 5. Oh, dear me, probably about 5 years ago, and it was on then. But they cut the Jim Davidson bit out. I can't think why. You know, perhaps in the modern era, his chalky gags weren't, you know, kind of considered appropriate. Do you prefer improvisation more than learning stuff? It's not an either or for me. I love one of the things that I really love doing are these solo kind of analysis videos that I do, which is why I keep doing them. And I love just kind of sitting down and, you know, tabbing stuff out and figuring out and learning it. And I love that whole process. It's very satisfying for me to do that. But I also love the Saturday videos. You know, when I'm just having a bit of a jam, usually that's what it amounts to. I mean, sometimes it's a bit more structured than that, but, you know, I love both of it. Both elements of it, just the kind of jamming and the more structured kind of trying to get it to sound. The solo that I really love doing, and I'm thinking about doing another one actually. Do you remember when I did that was it Hazel O'Connor sax solo from I think what was he called, Wesley McGugan, the sax player on that track from Will You. I love doing that, taking a sax solo and doing it for the guitar. I absolutely adore doing that. So there might be another one of those coming. I am the Les Dawson of the guitar, says Nigel. What do you think about George Harrison's slide playing? Well, I think he was one of the unsung heroes of slide guitar, to be honest with you. You know, when we think about slide guitar, we think of obviously Ry Cooder and Sonny Landreth and, you know, a bunch of, like Chris Rea even, you know. But George always gets overlooked, and I think that's a shame because he was a fantastic slide player. You know, really accomplished slide player, but people just tend to think about him as being, you know, the bloke out of the Beatles. Any alternatives cheaper or free for the Sibelius notation software? Well, I got to tell you, I love Guitar Pro. I've been using it for years now. I'm still on Guitar Pro 5 because it works for me. And it's like, when you think, well, maybe I should upgrade because it's 7 point something or whatever now. But when you get used to a piece of software and you just know all the kind of keyboard shortcuts and you know all your way around all the menus, and you got a pretty fast workflow with it. So I use Guitar Pro, and yes, all right, it's tab software, but you can use it as notation software as well. Ever woken up at night with a tune in your head and had to get it noted in somewhere? No, I haven't. Actually, but I did. Oh, years ago, I did an album called Portraits, which was like me doing an original, a bunch of original jazz tunes, and I was on my way to the shops one day, and a car went past with a tune playing on the radio in the car, on the music system in the car. Have no idea what that tune was, but just a few bars of it lodged in my head. So I kind of, I thought, I've got to have that. And I just hummed it into my phone, into the voice recorder on my phone, and then kind of got home and kind of figured out how to play it on the guitar. Yeah, saw a guitarist in a pub doing Baker Street and playing the sax bit on the guitar. It was brilliant. That was originally your guitar part, because the sax player on the track, Raphael Ravenscroft, I think he was called. He actually, I think he tried to sue Jerry Rafferty for royalties for that sax break, and Rafferty said, "No, sorry, that was my melody. Do you not remember that day in the studio when I played you it?" And then produced a demo of the tune from years before that had that sax part played on the guitar. Watch the Warren Hewitt video on Baker Street, and you will actually hear that sax part played on the guitar. Somehow Warren got hold of the original demo. And it was originally a guitar part, so there you go. Anyway, chaps, I'm going through the beer rather quick tonight. I might just have to where are we now? 40 minutes in. I might just have to nip down to the fridge and get myself another one in a moment. I hope you don't mind. You can talk amongst yourselves. 2 minutes, chaps. I'm just going to go and get a refill. Dearie me, it's the first time I've gone through more than 4 on a live stream. Well, since Christmas, really. Here we go. Yes, indeed. Excuse me, I'm just trying to pour this without it looking like it needs a flake stuck in it. There we go. You can't beat the drop of Aldi beer for a good pour. Anyway, where are we? Yeah, I'm sorry, David. Yeah, I normally bring 4 beers up with me for the live stream, but I've gone through them all. Who's on the Hop House 13? Dearie me, that's mental stuff, that is. I like it but it doesn't like me. And we'll leave it at that. Things get a bit messy. Where are we? Look, you're looking at the wood panelling on the landing, are you? Yes, indeed. Yeah, we had that done a few years ago. It's just, it just saves decorating, basically. My mum nailed the Baker Street sax part in 1982 in Hastings. John, I will send you a picture. Well, fair enough, mate. Go for it. You need a bell to get some waiter service. Yes. Yeah, I don't think that would go down too well with the wife. If I start ringing a bell and saying, "Beer, please, darling." Yes, I can imagine that going down like a lead balloon. John, why don't you just install a beer pump? Worse ideas, I suppose. Remember Gareth Hale from Hale and Pace? He played a very funny drunk. Did he really? I was never really that much of a fan of Hale and Pace, to be honest with you. If you get a chance, check out Boogaloo Joe Jones. Well, as I say, I usually kind of scroll back through the chat replay on a Sunday afternoon, so I shall make notes. What's cooking tonight, John, says Timbo. This evening, I was at Aldi this morning, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed at 8 o'clock for them opening, and I got all the ingredients to do a big, humongous nuclear batch of homemade chili. So that's what we're having tonight. Was on the homebrew last night. Don't remember going to bed. Watch Brian Johnson and Stingrates. Yeah, that Brian Johnson Life on the Road is a fantastic series. I hope he does some more, because there's been 2 series. The one that really kind of amazed me. Did you see the one with Dolly Parton? There's an odd pairing, Dolly Parton and Brian Johnson. But they got on like a house on fire. Incredible stuff. The Dave Grohl one was a good one as well. Have you heard any John Jorgensen albums, different genres, country, blues, jazz? I haven't heard any of his solo albums, but I have had a couple of albums of the Helicasters. Jerry Donahue, John Jorgensen. Who's the other guy? I can't remember. Will Ray. That's him. Beer and chili for the young and stomach. Yes, indeed. Where are we? Think they're pulling the trigger on a Harley Benton TE90 QM. How good are their P90s? Well, I had one in for review. Oh dear me, got about 2.5 years ago, and it was a lovely guitar to play. And it had Wilkinson P90s in it, supposedly. But here's the thing. This was round about the time when Harley Benton was switching away from Wilkinson pickups to Roswell, because there were a lot of fake Wilkinson pickups out there, which I got to tell you surprises me, because if you're in the business of making counterfeit pickups, then why not just fake it as a Seymour Duncan and be done with it, or a DiMarzio. Anyway, I think I had one of the ones with fake Wilkinson pickups in, because it was a bit muddy sounding. It was a lovely guitar to play, but I know you can see behind me there's that Bits and Pieces. Where are we? Over there. That Bits and Pieces Telecaster up there that's got a Wilkinson P90 in it. And I know from the way that Wilkinson P90 sounds, it sounded nothing like the Wilkinson P90s in that Harley Benton. So if you're getting one with the Roswell ones in, it's probably going to be better than the one that I reviewed, because it was a bit kind of woolly and a bit muddy sounding. Oh, welcome. Was it Tom 3? Welcome, mate. Yes, we're a friendly bunch here. I hope you got your beer. You are joining us towards the end of the live stream, though, but you can watch it on repeat, can't you? But welcome to the Old Codgers Club. I'm selling a Coco distortion on eBay for 600 quid. If anyone here has brain damage, the amount of money you can pay now for a pedal, I think, is just ridiculous. It is. I've said this before, but, I remember years ago reading in, I think it was Guitar Player magazine, where they were talking about the guitar pedal is no more. Everybody's going to be using rack systems now. And then suddenly pedals become fashionable again. And like anything that becomes fashionable, the prices go up. And I think, the whole kind of fashion thing has a lot to do with the prices of pedals. It's like, you might as well just print Armani on it or something. Have you still got the Filtertron TE90 on the wish list? Well, I had the TE90 with the Filtertrons, but as I said, I had to sell it to pay for we have a dog, and he gets ill from time to time, mainly because he's a four-legged dustbin. And we've got insurance on him, but there's an excess to pay on the insurance, and there was a big excess to pay one year, and I had to sell a couple of guitars, and one of them was the Filtertron TE90. That's an idea. I might see if I can turn that Glary into a reproduction of that guitar. Yeah, I'm doing fine, thank you, Tom. You're at music college. Fair enough. Well, it's whereabouts are you, mate? Whereabouts are you studying music? If a pedal is more than 50 quid, it's too expensive. Yeah, I will go along with that, Nigel. I mean, that I think it was Joyo British Sound pedal that I had a while ago. You plug it in and it sounds like a Marshall Plexi. It's a Marshall Plexi amp in a box. One of the most iconic guitar tones in just like a little pedal, and sounds really properly convincing. So if you can get one of the most iconic guitar tones in a pedal for about 30 quid, then you got to question, like, well, why do some pedals cost like 400 or 500 quid? Makes you wonder. Have you ever played a Ricky 330, John? No, I can't say I have. I've played a Rickenbacker once many years ago, and it wasn't an experience I was keen to repeat, to be honest with you. They are just an acquired taste, let's say. The thing that I noticed was just how thin the neck was. And I can't remember which Rickenbacker it was I played, but it was like, as you go up the neck, how the neck sort of tapers out. So typically a neck will be kind of wider at the 12th fret than it is at the 1st fret. Well, on the Rickenbacker, it wasn't. It was just like kind of, the strings were just like parallel all the way up, and it's like really off-putting. I've been listening to Budgie. What a sound! Shame about the name, really. Yeah, well, it was the 70s, wasn't it? Bands had weird names in the 70s. Great band though. Should have gotten 2 beers. Yes, I should, really, shouldn't I? Because this is going down like absolute nectar this evening, it has to be said. We won't be long. I'll try and make this last till the end of the stream. Yeah, a lot of people, opinion seems to be divided on Rickenbackers. Rickenbackers are more rhythm guitars. When we get out of lockdown, I'd love John to play my Gretsch. Well, there is a Gretsch heading this way from a certain Mr. Bottleneck Bob at some point. He's bringing another Gretsch up. Where are we? People saying never fancied a Rickenbacker. Rickenbackers are awesome. So again, it's another one of those kind of Marmite things, isn't it? People either love them or hate them. And I tried one once, and as I say, it was just not something that, given that my musical kind of core, really, where I come from as a musician is very much a blues-based kind of centre, then I can't really think there have been many blues guitarists who've played Rickenbackers. Correct me if I'm wrong, but blues is all about the Strat, the Telecaster, the 335, and the Les Paul. I can't think there's many Rickenbacker blues guitarists. You're getting a Music Man, are you, Craig? Which one? Which one are you getting? Is it the Axis? That would be my choice. That there's a real I don't know if they still do it, but the semi-acoustic Axis is, for me, that's just a gorgeous looking guitar. A black Gretsch Electromatic, got it for Christmas. Well, good for you, Tom. Yeah, I can't. The Gretsch model names seem to kind of elude me at the moment, especially because I've had 5 beers. But that Gretsch they had in here for review, oh dear me, a couple of years ago, that was a nice guitar. The only thing that I found about like the big hollow body Gretsch is that the weird thing is it feels like you're playing an acoustic, and you're hearing it, and you're hearing the sound of an electric guitar, which is like, it's a bit like when you open your mouth and you speak and suddenly someone else's voice comes out. It's a little bit like that. I love Marmite but hate Rickenbacker, says Timbo. Looks like YouTube has entered lockdown. I'm not sure what you mean there. Oh, the JP Majesty. Oh, I might have known it would be a John Petrucci model, Craig. Fair enough. Yes. Yeah, you mentioned you're a big Dream Theater fan. I really fancy a 335-esque at the moment, but the new Epi-inspired guy by Gibson 335 do look lovely. Yeah, I'm sure that they're really, really nice. I mean, at the risk of being called a shill, which I was again this week, try the Harley Benton HB 35 Plus. They're a nice guitar. I had a satellite Les Paul and a frontline distortion pedal. Now that's nasty. Yes, regular viewers to this channel will know that I once had a satellite Les Paul copy. It was my pride and joy at the time. It really was. Plugged into an Amstrad TS40 stereo. If you extended the live stream, you could get more beers in, no disadvantages. Yeah, the disadvantage is that I'm getting hungry, and there's been a big pot of chili on the stove since 9 o'clock this morning. And honestly, as my mother-in-law would say, the smell goes round your heart like a hairy worm. It's I am starting to kind of get a bit peckish, so I'm going to be wrapping up fairly soon. You had one of those satellites, did you, as well? Yeah, I'm sure they're also sold as Columbus as well. But my first electric guitar, the one that the satellite was the upgrade from, was the Woolworths Top 20. I believe they were also sold in the States as, I think, T-Sco or Ty-Sco guitars. Absolute nightmare of a guitar, but again, it was an electric guitar and it was mine, and I loved it for that very reason. Any guitars you're still after, John? No, I can't say there are. It's one of the greatest joys in life for me used to be, just fantasy guitar shopping. Just going on eBay, setting yourself an imaginary budget, and just going and kind of, oh yeah, I could have one of those. I just don't do it anymore because, to be honest with you, lads, you're looking at a man who's content with his lot, I'm afraid. So there you go. Anyway, chaps, I'm going to swig this off. there we go. And I'm going to call time for this evening because I'm going to go and spend some time with the missus and have some chili. So once again, thank you everyone for turning up for what has been an entertaining little soiree of a Friday evening. Let's keep doing it. And as I say, I'm going to go and have some dinner now. So thank you all for turning up. And until next time, gentlemen, please.